So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In today's session we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper and then we will go through these 4-5 important articles for the day, and then we will see some world around the news. We will take up 2 articles from international relations, and then for your own read there will be 1 article which will be covered in our in news or in focus program, which you can watch. Okay, we will start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Before that, here you can see this is your front page, and here there is one particular news items here, that is in highest turnout since 1996, Srinagar records nearly 38% voting. When we are talking about a scenario wherein we are saying that there is a dip in the turnout this time in this 2024 elections in this particular area of Srinagar or Jammu and Kashmir, if you can say. So we have seen that relatively there was a higher turnout when we are talking about the past few years. Okay, since 1996 this was the first time they have achieved this much of turnout. Okay, so we will see what are the reason behind it. Other than that, also we will talk about this second thing, that is government to rule on spam calls and messages. Whatever spam calls and messages, unknown numbers, all these things which you are getting on the phone call, which you actually you get irritated because of which, okay, because these are unwanted calls. Government is trying to build a rule on that, so we will talk about that. Then xenotransplants, we have earlier talked about xenotransplant, and we will see that if it is still a risk or what is the recent data saying. Okay, afterwards we will move forward with the next article that is related to your atmosphere on 55 Cancri E. So this is particularly a exoplanet, a telescope, that is James Webb. You must have heard of this. James Webb actually has detected that there is a atmosphere, or there is a chance of presence of atmosphere around this exoplanet, that is 55 Cancri E. Okay, so we will talk about that. Okay, so let's start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. What is the Japanese name for the Diaoyu Island? Okay, so Diaoyu Island, we have talked about this island in East China Sea. When we were talking about the problems in South China Sea, we have gone through the we have gone further and we have seen that in the East China Sea there is this island that is contested between Japan and China, that is your Diaoyu Island as per China, and Japanese call them as Shinkaku Island. So please remember that, that can be important for you. So option A is your right answer, that is Senkaku Island. Okay, now we can move further and start with the first article of the day, that is in the highest turnout since 1996, Srinagar records a nearly 38% voting. When we are talking about all over India, there are 3 phases which has completed, 4th phase is going on. When we are talking about the data, we have seen that relatively this time we have seen a dip in the turnout. Okay, now there are various reasons which has attributed to it. We have done a in news or in focus program on that as well, so you can go and watch that. But as of now we are talking about Srinagar, and Srinagar has recorded 38% voting, and this is the highest since 1996. Okay, so this is the first time it has happened that nearly 37.98% turnout was there after 1996. Here you can see there are certain data is given. In 1996 there was 0.94% turnout, and afterwards we have seen there is a decline, and for various reasons. Like when we are talking about Srinagar and Jammu and Kashmir area, this area has its own problem. It is when we are talking about, this is a border area, and there are certain activities which has happened in the past, and because of which there was relatively lesser turnout. Okay, there was this anti-social elements, there was this terrorist elements which were present in that particular area, because of which there was fear on the day of election if they want to go out or not. Considering that, and when you are talking about the situation post abrogation of 370, there was relatively peace which has prevailed. But the thing is, in the last 2 years we have seen that there is a rise in the terrorist attack. Recently you must have heard that 4-5 days ago there was again a terrorist attack. But the thing is, now there is a change in the pattern. Earlier these attacks used to be in the valley region. Right now these attacks are happening in the Pir Panjal, on the south of Pir Panjal, or you can say Rajouri and Poonch area. Okay, so that is a cause of concern. But as of now, when we are talking about this particular situation, we have seen that the turnout has increased. There are various reasons which has been attributed to it. We will talk about those reasons over here. Okay, here you can say, while official attributed the confidence building measure for the candidates, voter outreach programs, and voter cited the political vacuum and the absence of political structure where they can register their grievances. So basically, officials are saying that they have gone for the outreach program, they have built the confidence in the masses, and because of which there was this higher voting turnout. or the, you can say the political candidates or the masses are saying that there is a political vacuum. Okay, after abrogation of 370, we wanted that there will be a legislative assembly afterwards, but it has been like 3-4 years now. So considering all these things, there was a political vacuum. Okay, it was under the since it is a UT, it is under the central government's rule. Ultimately, that was all the, you can say, reasons which has attributed to the you can say this higher turnout this time. Okay, last time it was nearly around 14%, and now in 2019 it was 14%. Now it is more than double, that is 38%. Okay, so that is you can say a positive step when we are talking about Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, now officials in election commission said they had made concerted effort to facilitate campaigning and provide a secure environment for the political activity, because when we are talking about this particular area has the past which has you can say an instable past at that point of time. So that is why now they have provided for an environment which provides you or give you a confidence of safety, and that is why people has turned out to go for voting. Confidence building measures for the candidate and the voter outreach programs has been conducted by the efforts of the election commission. And then here you can say the JNK chief electoral officer has said that no untoward incidents which has happened this time. Okay, so basically no such incident of violence etc which has happened this time. And then Jammu and Kashmir is not completely free from its troubled past, which we know that, and to conduct the election peacefully and in a free and fair manner, the preventive measure has to be taken. Okay, so when we are talking about this particular election scenario, there was certain preventive detentions also which has been done. Preventive detention means that before even existence of the crime or any offence which has been committed, just because there is speculation that a person can go for some kind of offence, so on the basis of that speculation, if you are going for the arrest of that particular person, that is preventive detention. There are provisions for preventive detentions in India. Okay, and that is, you can say that is kind of a unique provisions when we are talking about the constitution. Now here you can say they have gone for the preventive measures as well. If someone has criminal background, anti-national history or record of working as an OGW, that is overground worker, such people were definitely detained. Okay, so the people who has a past record, who has some kind of connections, or they have worked when we are talking about anti-national history etc. So if there is a history or a past record, they have been detained. And if there was this effort that if someone is not having some kind of history, they were not tried to be detained. In case if there is a threat, then there might be a chance. Okay, so that is about the Srinagar elections and why there was this higher turnout. Okay, so this is a significant step which has happened. Okay, now there are chances that they might use this statement in your prelims examination. They can convert into a negative statement, like they can say that this was the last time 1996 was the place or the time when it was more than 20% turnout was seen. Okay, so such trend you need to remember that this time we have gone for the 38% turnout. This particular table will be helpful for you if you can analyze the trend. Okay, earlier there is no, you can say some 11%, 18%, 25%, 25%, 14%. So this is the first time we have went near 38% or around. Okay, now moving further, spam no more, government to soon finalize draft rule on unwanted business calls and messages. Okay, there is nothing much in this particular article, so I will read it for you. And just a crux is that if they ask you in the exam that there are provisions in place which says that there are certain laws which can restrict you from going for such things like unwanted calls, messages etc. So know that there are efforts, but there is no rule as per se. Okay, but government is trying to draft a rule. So let's see. Closing in on spam calls and messages, the center will finalize the guidelines to check unsolicited business communication. It is learned. Okay, so basically they are saying that unsolicited business communication, like most of the time you will get a phone call that if you need a loan, if you need a credit card, if you want to purchase a particular course, all these things are basically unsolicited business calls. Okay, so most of the time the consumer get frustrated because of which, and that is why government is saying that they might go for a drafting certain rules on that. Okay, so that is one thing. Then prevention and the regulation of unsolicited and unwarranted business communication 2024, that would be the name of the rules. Okay, if you remember, well and good, otherwise it's okay. Just know that there are certain guidelines which might come in near future. A committee set up by the Department of Consumer Affairs, obviously Department of Consumer Affairs will be responsible for such things, because it is directly an interaction between the business and the consumers. Okay. Then the draft guidelines define various important terms, applicabilities with appropriate illustration, and provide that the guidelines shall not be in derogation of any other existing law. So that is a basic phenomena whenever we are talking about a law. If law is there, that means that that is in line with the constitution, and if you are going for, you can say, abrogating that particular law, that means that you are ultimately somehow you are trying to abrogate the constitution. So most of the time what will happen is that if there is an existing law, the coming law will not be, you can say, against that particular law until unless it has been amended or repealed or changed. Okay, so that is another situation. But if two laws are existing, they will not counteract each other. They should not. Okay, there are chances that there can be loopholes, etc., but they should not contradict each other. Okay. Now, the next is the draft guidelines also list out various types of communication that will be deemed to be unsolicited and unwarranted. So, basically they have used example as well. They have given illustration, they have given the definitions. As I told you, they have defined various terms and applicability of these particular things in the form of illustrations. Okay. So, to make it easy, they have given these things. They have list out various type of communication which will be deemed to be unsolicited or unwarranted. Okay. Now, it was further pointed out that despite numerous measures taken by the TRAI and the Department of Telecommunication, the number of pesky and fraudulent calls remains unlimited. So, basically here we are saying that there are initiatives which has been taken by the TRAI. Okay, they have said, TRAI had recommended that all telecom companies activate callers. They should activate caller name display on the phones, and all the smartphone makers to enable this feature. Okay, so if there is a spam call, that will show you the spam call. Like right now we have a application that is Truecaller, that is not an inbuilt application. Okay, now TRAI has said that you should go for an inbuilt application, or when we are talking about the smartphone makers, they have told them to use this feature in the phone inbuilt. Okay, but these are the initiatives has been taken. Ultimately these are not working very efficiently. That is why we are coming with this regulation. Now, at that particular meeting, it was also brought to the notice of the committee that the TRAI under the Telecom Commercial Communication Customer Preference Regulation 2018, don't need to remember that, have already advised the principal entities such as banks, financial institutions, insurance companies and trading companies to develop a digital consent acquisition system. Digital consent acquisition system means that whenever you will be going for these platforms, they will ask you that whether you want communication from our side or not. Okay. So they have said that, TRAI has said that to all these you can say entities like principal entities like bank, financial institution, etc., that you should go for digital consent acquisition system. Okay, but the best phenomena over here is that if someone has given you the consent and now you are calling them, okay, after some time they think that they should not have given the consent in the first place, so they can revoke it. Okay, so that is one thing which TRAI has recommended as per these particular regulations. Okay, that is digital consent acquisition system. Okay, DCA system aims to create a unified platform for subscriber to register their consent digitally, receiving commercial communications, and consent can also be revoked if they want to. Okay, so that is about this particular news item. Now we can move further. Hold on a second. So now we are talking about xenotransplants. Xeno word, this word xeno is a Latin term. Okay, that means that foreign. So when we are talking about xenotransplant, that means that we are taking a foreign organ or a cell type or any kind of bodily fuel, and we are transplanting into someone. Okay, so basically if we are talking about a xenotransplant, we are taking something from some species and then transplanting into some other species. Okay, in the human, when we are talking about with respect to humans, so here what we are doing is that we are taking you can say the donor will be from any other species, or you can say let us say any animal, and then from that particular species we are transplanting it to humans. Okay, so that is with respect to humans if we see, so that is basically a xenotransplant. Okay, so in the recent past what happens that there was this kidney, a pig's kidney has been transplanted to a human. Okay, because that person was going through a kidney failure, and there is a long list of donors, there is a long list of you can say receivers, and that is why they have gone for this particular experiment, and that was a consensual. But the thing is, he survived for 2 months and then he died. Okay, similar incident has happened in 2022 as well, that there was some similar transplant which has been done, and that person also survived for 2 months. Okay, now the thing is, why this is happening? Because here we are saying that genome is foreign. Now when you are taking an organ, let's say kidney of a person, and transplanting it to a human, humans have their own immune system, they will fight the foreign bodies. Okay, so when we are talking about taking kidney from another species, that is a huge task. Even if we are taking a kidney from the human itself, like let's say from a brother or from a sister, we are taking a kidney and then transplanting it to the receiver. But the thing is, at that point of time also, that kidney will act as a foreign body, and that is why immunosuppressant was also given by the doctors. Immunosuppressant means that they will suppress the you can say formation of antibodies, because the thing is, they will, whenever there is a kidney which has been transplanted to a human body, that act as a foreign body, and your body, your own immune system will start responding against them. Okay, to suppress that response, immunosuppressant are given to that particular human. But the thing is, because of these particular drugs, that is immunosuppressant, the thing is, there are chances that these people will be vulnerable to other diseases as well, because ultimately they are suppressing your immune system. Okay, so all these things are concerned when we are talking about the organ transplants, and it becomes even more complicated when it is about xenotransplants. Okay, so let's start with this particular article. We'll see what has happened and what are the concerns and what is the way forward over here. Okay, so here, the first person to receive a pig kidney dies 2 months after this surgery, and the hospital or the relatives, they did not link the death with the transplant. Okay, now what is xenotransplant? Now they did not do it, that means, doesn't mean that it was not because of that. So that these things are somehow related, but the thing is, they did not blame it on the transplant. Now what is xenotransplant? Xeno means it is a Latin term for foreign. Xenotransplant is a transplantation of living cells, tissues, organs from one species to another, that is xenotransplant. It can be a organ, it can be a cell, it can be a tissue from one species to another species. Okay, now in the context of humans, xenotransplant is any procedure that involve transplantation, implantation or infusion into human recipient, either a living cell or tissue or organ from a non-human animal source. Okay, so one thing is that in this particular, what you are going saying, that some living cells, organs, tissues, they have been taken from a non-human animal source. So that is one thing. Second, they are saying that human body fluid, cell, tissues or organs that have had ex vivo contact with the live non-human animal cell, tissues, organs, etc. Ex vivo contact means that you can say that basically from a foreign body. Okay, so if there is a you can say contact with the foreign body. So similarly, ultimately the crux is that if you are taking something out of a foreign body and then transplanting into a human. Okay, so it is basically, you can say, intra species you can say transplantation. Okay, now this definition has been given by the US Food and Drug Administration. You don't have to remember that, but the thing is, just know that what is xenotransplant. Okay, now how does it work? Okay, so an animal organ is selected. Okay, let's say kidney here was selected. Now this kidney should have some kind of match. Okay, because otherwise your body will take it as a foreigner. If the similarity is higher, then there are chances that it will survive more. Okay, so here you can say the animal organ selected has to go undergo the genetic changes. Now since it is from a very different species, okay, organ from different species. So this is from the different species, obviously gene sequencing will be different. Now we are transplanting it to a human, that means that there are certain changes which has to be done in the gene sequencing of this particular you can say organ, so that it will be more similar. Like when we are talking about pigs. Okay, so we have chosen pigs for the kidney transplants because there are various things which are similar to human bodies and the human anatomy and the pig's anatomy. That says a lot about humans as well as pigs. But the thing is, you can say that pigs are more suitable when we are talking about such transplants. Okay, Now still they are more suitable, but there are certain things which are you can say exclusively found in the pigs, and that can be detrimental for humans. Okay, let's say there is some kind of virus which is having a presence in the pig's body, or if there is some kind of particular gene functioning because of which certain hormone is secreted which is not very good for human body. In that case, you need to remove that gene, you need to adapt it as per the human requirement, and then you have to transplant. Okay, so that is why you have to go for the genetic changes. Now how will you do that? That is CRISPR Cas9. We have talked about this particular technology wherein a gene will be cut and then replaced with the another one or the altered one gene. Okay, Cas9 is your molecular scissor. So that is important for you. UPSC has asked this question, that it is a molecular scissor. Okay, so that is about Cas9 and CRISPR. So here you can say that nearly 39 genomic additions, or you can say edits, has been performed on the pig kidney. Gene editing technology CRISPR-Cas9 was employed to remove the certain pig genes that produce sugar with antibodies. Antibodies our immune system react to. Okay, so there is this particular kind of sugar which has been produced in pigs, which our body will react to, and that is why that has to be changed, and that was done over here. And add certain human genes to improve kids you can say kidneys compatibility with the humans. Now they have said that why pigs are used for this procedure. So pig's heart wall has been used for the damaged human heart walls for various times now 50 years now. Okay, so pigs anatomy, or you can say human and pigs anatomy and the physiological parameters are similar to humans. They can be easily and in cost effective manner bred in farms. That is second thing, is that you can breed these pigs in the farm, so that makes them available for your transplants. Okay, now why we are going for the animal transplant, that is one more question, because there is a long list of you can say such diseases, such kidney transplant cases. There is a long list of other human body parts which needs donor, but the thing is the donors are not available. Okay, and then there are certain you can say laws when we are talking about to stop the human trafficking for such organ transplants, etc. So there are certain laws that such donations should be altruistic. Okay, so your family member can only do it, your friends can do it, but not a distant relative. Okay, so in such cases what is happening is that the number of donor is very less and the recipient are very high. Okay, so that is why we are going for an alternative, that is taking organs from the you can say animals. Okay, now here you can say it is in a cost effective manner, they can be bred in the farm. A vast variety of pig breeds which can come in different sizes also means that harvesting organ can be matched with the specific needs of a human recipient, because there are various breeds which are having various size, like let's say kidney if we are talking about. So there are various size which are available, so that is problematic on various levels, but the thing is that is why they have chosen the pigs for the transplants. Okay, now what are the complications? As I told you, these bodies act as a foreign bodies. Okay, so ultimately there will be a immune response from our side of the body, and that is why when we are talking about the human transplants or any other transplants, the immunosuppressants are given. Okay, so that is already been discussed here. You can say to ensure that the human body does not reject the transplanted organ, like in regular transplants the patient is put on immunosuppressants. Okay, that is immunosuppressant, which leaves them vulnerable to the other diseases, and there are various complications, because if you are on the immunosuppressant, that means that your immunity is being suppressed. Okay, that immunity is being suppressed artificially for one particular purpose, that your kidney does not or you can say your body does not treat your kidney as a foreign body. But the thing is, at the same time, since your immunity is suppressed, there are high chances that you will get other diseases, because you will be more vulnerable to the viruses or the any kind of other you can say pathogens. Okay, now here you can say the immunosuppressant which leaves them vulnerable to the other diseases and complications. The transplanted organ themselves may carry recognized and unrecognized infectious agents. Okay, so since when we are talking about these pigs, okay, we are trying to make sure that we are going for the gene editing, but we can only edit only those genes which are recognized, and there can be unrecognized elements which can you can say kick off, or you can say trigger the immune response. Okay, other than that also there can be certain you can say pathogens, etc., or certain viruses which can be there, which we do not know about. So all such things can be very detrimental and can lead to a subsequent transmission of diseases among humans, and at with certain latent retrovirus potentially causing diseases years after the infection. So that is the thing, that if at the same point it doesn't happen, that means that at some point, okay. So you must have heard about these zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic diseases are basically you can say they are coming from the animal kingdom to the humankind, okay. So these are basically your zoonotic diseases. So in this case also, if you are interacting with animals now, there are high chances that these zoonotic diseases might spread more, okay. So that is another case. What is the need of the procedure? As I told you, there are significant gap between the organ donor and the recipient, okay. When we are talking about the USA alone, there are 90,000 people which are waiting for the kidney transplant, and there are only, or you can say nearly 3,000 people are dying, okay, every year waiting for such transplants, and that is why we have gone for the xenotransplant. So this is all about xenotransplant. They will not ask you anything beyond this, so please prepare this. Now moving further, we'll take another article which is based on your space technology. Around a rocky exoplanet, space telescope finds atmosphere, okay. When we are talking about this exoplanet, that is 55 Cancri E, okay. So I don't know, that pronunciation might be different, so you can go and check. That is 55, again I'll spell it for you, 55 Cancri E, okay. So that is, there is a space between Cancri and E. So that is the exoplanet. Exoplanet means that they are basically similar to planets, but they are, not in the vicinity. Again, here when we are talking about this particular news item, that news item is saying that the James Webb telescope, okay. So you should go and read about this particular telescope, because we have talked about in our current affairs series as well, because it was in news. So please go and find out, some specific details about this particular you can say telescope, okay, like which country has sent it and all these things. James Webb Space Telescope detected evidence of an atmosphere around exoplanet 55 Cancri E. So basically we are saying that there is possibility of atmosphere. When we are talking about the possibility of atmosphere, there are high chances that things can be habitable in the, you can say, upcoming time. There can be possibility of habitation over there. Now so there is a possibility of atmosphere over there, one of the most studied rocky planet outside the solar system, okay. Now since it is outside the solar system, that means that it is an exoplanet, okay. Now when we are talking about the exoplanet, which is 41 light years away, orbits sun like a star, and is twice Earth's radius and 8 times heavy, okay. So here you can say this is our Earth, okay, and this is your 55 Cancri E. So you can say that it is having a nearly twice side, and weight is 8 times, okay. So this particular thing you can remember. Then the mysterious planet, when we are talking about the Cancri 55 Cancri, it was discovered in 2004. Please remember this, in 2004, and then there was various development which has happened in 2011, okay. We started to go for certain things. Here you can say in 2004 it was thought that it was a gas giant similar to Jupiter, okay. Earlier we said that it was a gas giant. After that, similar to Saturn, not Jupiter, Saturn is a gas giant, okay. Basically Jupiter is also a gas giant, you can say that similar to those things. The point here is that that is basically a gas giant. Now in 2011 what happens, that researchers found that this is having a rocky texture as well, okay. When we are talking about Earth is a rocky planet, okay. So when we are talking about Earth is a rocky planet. So in 2011 we found that it is also, more than just gases. There are, rocky exoplanets like Earth, etc., okay. Then in 2016 we have seen that it was cooler than what that was expected from this particular planet, okay. It was cooler. When we were talking about this particular thing, we saw that it is relatively cooler than that. When we are talking about a star which is, or you can say exoplanet which is close to a star, that means that they should have more heat, okay. But the thing is, in this particular case what has happened is that it was not as warmer, because obviously with the, when we are talking about let's say Mercury is close to sun, okay. So we can say that Mercury has a very warm temperature, very high temperature, okay. But in this case it was not the case, okay, because it was a relatively cooler. Here you can say in 2016 scientists noticed that 55 Cancri E was cooler than what they expected for a planet so close to the star, okay. And it has probably it has a atmosphere, and that has been confirmed by the James Webb that it has an atmosphere. You don't remember all these things, just know that it is a rocky planet, it is an exoplanet, and James Webb telescope has confirmed that there are possibilities of atmosphere around this particular exoplanet, okay. Now what kind of atmosphere does it has? It is a carbon based atmosphere, okay. So James Webb data has said that it is a carbon based atmosphere. Atmosphere is probably rich in carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and has thickness that is up to few of percentage of the planet's radius, okay. So all these things are certain characteristics which you can remember, okay. More research is needed to determine the atmosphere's full and exact composition and the precise thickness. So when we are talking about the thickness of our atmosphere, we know that it is nearly when we are talking about the density, high density atmosphere, that is up to your stratosphere. Afterwards the thickness, or you can say, it becomes thin, okay. Similarly, when we are talking about this particular thickness of this particular exoplanet, we are saying that this is nearly you can say some percentage of its you can say radius, okay. Now here you can say deep implication has been there, because when we are talking about atmosphere being presence of the atmosphere, there are high chances that we will see that how our earth has evolved during all that particular time, because earlier earth was also a icy planet and then it was converted into a rocky planet, okay. Now we also have an atmosphere. So similarly, being able to spot such atmosphere in earth like a planet is an important step in research uh, for life beyond the solar system, okay. So when we are talking about the current situation, it does not support any life, okay. 55 Cancri E cannot currently support life, as we know that in the presence of atmosphere provides clues regarding the earth's distance path when it was too hot and covered with the magma. So basically right now we are saying that since we don't this particular planet does not have a habitable life as of now, but the thing is it will give you some kind of insights when we are talking about the past of earth, okay. Earth might have gone through similar things, so that is why this particular discovery becomes important for you. So please remember that it is an exoplanet. It is James Webb has seen that there are possibility that there can be atmosphere. Other than that, it is having a size which is basically you can say twice the radius of earth, and it is 8 times heavy, okay. It is an exoplanet. So all these things you can remember. Second thing is, you can remember that it is a rocky planet having a composition mostly carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, okay. So I hope this is clear. Now moving further, from your international relations, there are nothing much to discuss, but I will go through these 2-3 things because they can ask you in statements. India extends 50 million support to Maldives, okay. Now when we are talking about this particular event which has happened, this is despite the tension between India and Maldives, okay. Maldives government has requested the aid, and that is why you can say India has gone for it. In a goodwill gesture, India has decided to extend vital budgetary support to Maldives with a rollover of $50 million treasury bills for another years to the Maldivian government's request, okay. So basically this will be given in the form of treasury bills, okay. Now we have purchased this treasury bill, we have given a loan of $50 million. Now this is a interest free loan, okay. So that is one thing. The State Bank of India has subscribed for one more year to the 50 million government treasury bills, okay, issued by the Ministry of Finance of the Maldives upon the maturity of the previous subscription. So similar arrangement was there previously, that was matured, and that is why the government has, the Maldivian government has requested for further extension, and then we have gone for the 1 year further extension. Now these government treasury bills are subscribed by SBI under government to government, a unique arrangement at zero cost, that is interest free to the government of Maldives, okay. So just remember that with Maldives we have this you can say aid which has been given, support has been given in the form of treasury bills, a purchase of the treasury bills, and it is a interest free loan, you can say. Now moving further, next article is related to your Israel Hamas issues, and then recently you must have heard about this case which has been filed by South Africa in International Court of Justice, saying that Israel is doing a genocide in Gaza Strip, okay. So that has been the case which has been filed by South Africa. and Egypt has actually intervened in this particular case, and they have they have argued in the favor of South Africa. Okay, so here you can see that Egypt on Sunday said it would intervene in the support of Africa's case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, citing the growing scale of Israel's operation in Gaza and their implications on the civilians, growing tension between the two neighbors as Israeli operation in the border town Rafah test long-term agreements and the security cooperation. Okay, so that has happened because of the attacks which are happening in the Gaza right now. Okay, so right now the Israeli armies are moving towards the Rafah, and they have actually reached Rafah and then had done some activities over there, and that is why Egypt is quite concerned, because Rafah is basically, when we are talking about the Gaza strip, it is something like this strip, and then there is this particular presence of Sinai Peninsula. Now this particular point is your Rafah crossing. Okay, so if Israelis are moving in this particular area, there are chances that people, or you can say Palestinian people, might try to cross this Rafah crossing and come enter into Egypt. Okay, so there can be illegal immigrations, etc. So such problem might be there. That is why Egypt is quite concerned. Otherwise also Arab countries has given their support to the cause of Palestinians. So that is about this particular article. So now there is this South Africa and Egypt, which are in International Court of Justice. They are saying that Israel is going for genocide. Okay, so that is about this. With this particular article being in the news, I hope you will go and look for the location of South Africa and certain physical features, okay, and the boundary areas, etc. you can remember. Okay, and same is the case for the Israel as well. Sorry, Israel and the Egypt as well. Now moving further, last part is basically your for your own read. There is this article, India's stakes in Chabahar. Okay, so we have in our discussion various times discussed that why Chabahar port is important. So I would want you to go through this particular article, and it will be discussed in news program. So please keep a tap on that. Other than that, here you can say that this is the basically project, okay, to connect the Europe with, you can say basically here Russia with India. So here Mumbai port is there, then there is this Chabahar port, okay, then there is this Bandar Abbas port, Bandari Anjali, then Astrakhan, and then there is this St. Petersburg. So these are certain areas which you should remember for your exam point of view. Other than that, you can go and read this particular article that is talking about the importance of Chabahar port for India and what are the changes which is happening because of the issues in the area. When we are talking about the Middle East, there are certain chaos which is going on, and you can go through this particular article. Okay. Now last part, that is basically your practice question. 55 Cancri has been in news recently. It is a gas giant, an exoplanet, an asteroid, and a comet. So you have to choose the correct option, and you have to reply in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you are not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Thank you.